Humanity's exploration of the god of war Mars has continued for over 40 years. When Mars rovers successfully landed on the red planet, the world was thrilled. Around the same time, NASA officially confirmed the presence of frozen water on the Martian surface. Many scientists stated that if water exists on the surface of Mars, it implies the possibility of life. So, is there really life on Mars? Is there an ultra-advanced civilization beyond human comprehension? NASA's Viking 1 spacecraft once captured the famous photo of the face on Mars. A massive structure resembling a human face, complete with all features, gazing toward space. How was it formed? What message does it convey to humanity? Additionally, photos revealed ancient structures resembling pyramids on Mars. Scientists analyzing them found that their side lengths are 10 times that of Egypt's Great Pyramid, with a volume more than 1,000 times greater. Is NASA hiding the truth about Mars exploration? Mars, a planet both familiar and mysterious to humanity, does it truly hold a miraculous civilization as legends claim? Could humans be descendants of Martians? Whenever Mars appears, Earth experiences ill omens, such as disease, war, injury, and famine. For instance, the ancient Greeks regarded Mars as Ares, the god of war and son of Zeus. The Romans called him Mars, the origin of the English word March. In Norse mythology, the god Tyr corresponds to Mars. The boy from Mars? On March 12, 2004, Russian media outlet Pravda published an interview titled Boriska, the Boy from Mars. The report shocked the world. Even the renowned physicist Stephen Hawking, who was still alive at the time, was intrigued, saying the boy's statements could not be dismissed. So what exactly did Boriska say? Let's introduce him first. Boriska was born on January 11, 1996, in Russia. His mother was a doctor at a public hospital, and his father, a retired military officer. From a very young age, Boriska showed extraordinary intelligence. According to his mother, he could lift his head at 15 days old, speak by for months, read newspapers by 1.5 years old, and began drawing at 2. Around this age, he would often sit cross-legged in a meditative pose and start talking about the universe, planetary systems, and ancient civilizations. Boriska had a vivid impression of Mars. He claimed it was his previous life. He said he once lived as a Martian. According to Boriska, ancient Mars wasn't the thin atmosphere red desert we see today through rovers. It was once a lush green land with a thick orange atmosphere. But due to war, a cataclysmic disaster occurred, stripping Mars of its atmosphere. For survival, Martians were forced to move into underground cities. In his past life on Mars, Boriska frequently traveled alone to Earth for trade and research, and even made friends with early humans. He described 2 types of spaceships on Mars, one oval-shaped and the other triangular. The oval ships were massive and could carry many triangular ships, somewhat like an aircraft carrier with fighter jets. Boriska described the Martian spacecraft structure in detail: 6 layers. The outermost being a sturdy metal comprising 25% of the ship. The second layer, making up 30%, was a rubber-like material. The third, another 30%, was also metal. The innermost 4% was made of a special magnetic material. When energized, this magnetic layer enabled the ship to travel anywhere in the universe, instantly from Mars to Earth. So, are there still intelligent beings on Mars? Boriska said yes. He claimed that the Soviet Mars probes were destroyed by Martians. Back in July 1988, the Soviet Union launched 2 Mars probes, Phobos 1 and Phobos 2. Phobos 1 disappeared en route, while Phobos 2 successfully reached Mars orbit in January 1989, but lost contact around March 25th. Before the loss, it sent back a few shocking images showing a cigar-shaped UFO, about 25 kilometers long and 1.5 kilometers wide, floating below Mars moon Phobos. This closely matches Boriska's description of a Martian mothership. At the time, Soviet experts stated that Phobos 2 was destroyed by an unknown force. Was it because it photographed the Martian UFO? Boriska said no, it was because Phobos emitted harmful radiation detected by Martians, who then destroyed it. The journalist who interviewed Boriska was stunned. Before Phobos was launched, there were already warnings that it carried harmful radiation and could be destroyed if intelligent life existed on Mars. The Soviet scientists didn't believe it. But how could a boy, barely over 7 years old, know about such obscure events that happened 7 years before his birth? No wonder Hawking remarked whether or not the boy really came from Mars. His astronomical and cosmological knowledge far exceeds that of most people. CIA remote viewing of Mars reveals humanoid life. On October 27, 2022, the CIA publicly admitted on its official website that since 1972, it had been researching and testing psychic abilities, including remote viewing, the ability to perceive distant locations. The CIA said the research had enough accuracy to challenge randomness, meaning the phenomenon wasn't just coincidence. However, for intelligence purposes, the abilities were too unreliable and inconsistent. So they shelved the project, known as the Stargate Project. The CIA didn't limit remote viewing to Earth. They also remotely viewed the Moon and Mars. On November 4, 2022, a British tabloid newspaper, The Sun, reported a CIA experiment called Mars Exploration, conducted on May 22, 1984. The experiment was declassified in 1998, but not released until 2016. The declassified document describes the experiment. A sealed envelope was prepared, given to the remote viewer sub only after the session started. Inside, a card read: Mars. Time approximately 1 million years BC. After 10 minutes of preparation, the viewer began. The monitor mon instructed sub to fix coordinates at 40.89 north, 9.55 west. The viewer described a pyramid-like structure in a vast desert, yellowish like ochre. Then Mon told the viewer to move to 1 million years BC. The scenery changed entirely. Massive flat surfaces, walls, and corners appeared. Told to look around, the viewer saw figures, tall and thin people. These beings once lived there, but were now gone. When asked to go back further to when they were still alive, the viewer saw enormous canyons with immense smooth stone structures on one side. Entering a building, he saw high ceilings and wide walls. He also saw an obelisk-like monument, like the Washington Monument, and intersecting roads sunken underground, like subways. What about the Martians? This time, the viewer saw very large, tall, thin people in silky, tight-fitting clothes. The sun and horizon looked strange, and there were massive storms. At 80 South 64 East, he saw another huge pyramid, inside which Martians were hiding from storms. Their condition? The viewer said these were ancient Martians, dying. Their era had ended. Some pioneers were sent out to find a new habitat, while the rest stayed behind in pyramids, waiting for them to return. When asked what caused the Martian catastrophe, the viewer saw complex cosmic images, possibly comet tails or river-like visuals. Then, he was told to follow the pioneers. He described being inside a ship with curved walls and shiny metal. The pioneers reached a bizarre world with volcanoes, bubbling surfaces, and strange plants. It wasn't much better than Mars, but it had unique plants and different storms. At this point, the session ended, and the viewer returned to 1984. Although fragmented, the viewer's descriptions aligned surprisingly well with Boriska's. Mars once had a high civilization, but suffered a major catastrophe. Survivors sought refuge elsewhere. NASA scientists' discovery. Modern scientists are exploring this theory too, and some have made shocking claims. Former NASA scientist and plasma physicist Dr. John Brandenburg said Mars once had ancient civilizations and intelligent life. but it was wiped out by a nuclear attack from another alien race. The evidence? Still visible today. Brandenburg studied data from the Mars Curiosity rover and found the Martian atmosphere contained high levels of xenon-129, 2.5 times more than Earth. Xenon-129 is a byproduct of nuclear explosions. He also found the Martian surface covered in a thin layer of radioactive materials: uranium, thorium, and radioactive potassium, consistent with a nuclear blast. Only a nuclear explosion could scatter such debris across an entire planet, he said. After conducting research, Brandenburg discovered 2 nuclear hotspots on the surface of Mars' northern hemisphere. These 2 areas have radiation levels significantly stronger than other regions on Mars. Scientists inferred from their studies that the nuclear explosions occurred in mid-air rather than on the Martian surface. Brandenburg believes that a nuclear bomb as large as the Empire State Building exploded in the Martian sky, and that the attack likely came from invaders outside of Mars. As for the timing of the nuclear blasts, after analyzing the data, Brandenburg concluded that the event happened around 3 million years ago. While NASA later released clearer images of Mars' face to explain it as a visual illusion caused by poor resolution, Brandenburg and others remain unconvinced. Many people may be aware that a series of Mars photographs taken by NASA once revealed pyramid-shaped structures and objects resembling human faces. Although NASA later provided clearer images to explain that the face was merely an illusion caused by low-resolution photography, some scientists, including Brandenburg, disagreed with this conclusion. Brandenburg used a terrestrial erosion archaeology model to compare Earth structures with Martian objects. Using the Giza pyramids, the Sphinx, and the Olmec heads as references, he examined a series of new high-resolution images of Mars. He confirmed the presence of eye, nose, mouth, and helmet-like features on the Martian face object, and also found evidence of collapsed bricks on the Martian pyramids. The specific verification methods will not be detailed here, but those interested can read Brandenburg's paper for more information. Looking at all this now, the stories of the Mars boy, CIA remote viewing results, and Brandenburg's scientific research seem to come together, painting a tragic picture of an ancient Martian civilization. Due to warfare, possibly between different Martian races or even interstellar conflict, a once advanced Martian civilization was destroyed. Some Martians, as the Mars boy described, may have gone underground to survive, while others might have fled the planet in spaceships, as seen by remote viewers, in search of a new home in space. They may have even visited Earth, telling humans the terrifying tale of war on the Red Planet as a warning, which might explain why so many Earth civilizations associate Mars with war. So, are there Martians on Earth now? If we don't count Elon Musk, who seems obsessed with returning to Mars, it's really hard to say. According to the Mars boy Boriska, while humans can't live without oxygen, Martians actually dislike it because it causes them to age. However, Boriska also mentioned that more and more cosmic beings like him are reincarnating on Earth, because they are all waiting for a grand cosmic transformation, one in which Earth plays a crucial role.
Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Share it, because some stories are meant to be discovered together. And stay curious. I'll see you in the next chapter.